One. Hare Krishna, and welcome. Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. We could just switch up the intro and make it a little bit more dynamic.
Okay.
Nice surprise for the audience there. Okay, so Hare Krishna, I'm your host, Maitreya Rishi Dasa, and I'm here with His Grace, Puraja Prabhu of the Bhaktivedanta Lives and Sound Society. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Also, all glories to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai.
Jai.
That happened yesterday. That was a very ecstatic Hare Krishna festival. Let us know if you celebrated Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance day yesterday. That was very nice. If you offered anything to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So, yes.
What's new?
What is new? Well, let's talk about what already happened. What's old? Of course, Krishna consciousness is never old. Anything that happens in Krishna consciousness is on the eternal platform. There's no old.
The bliss olds.
The bliss old.
New. We have news and we have olds.
Oh, okay, that's quite nice. But we have a jingle for the olds section. So in the bliss olds section.
Sounds like oats.
Yeah. Well, we don't have any more baby oats, so we can't make this joke anymore. But actually, if anyone's in old news, and also to do with baby oats, if you go on our Facebook page, if you haven't seen the Figgy video, I highly recommend that you see the Figgy video. I can't describe what the video is like. You just have to go see the Figgy video. There's really no describing it. But once you see it, share it with your friends. It's a nice advertisement for the podcast.
Where is the Figgy video?
The Figgy video is on the Expand the Bliss page. A couple times it's posted there. And you can also find it on my page and on your page also. Your profile. Like that. Also in olds... last time we talked about prasadam on the previous podcast, and that was a good time. Somebody asked a question. Yes, our dear Peter Krishna asked a question about offering certain kinds of food to Krishna. So we addressed the whole topic of offering food to Krishna and taking nice prasadam and this whole aspect of Krishna consciousness, which is spiritual food.
I think we missed something.
What is
you
that?
have to say Peter Krishna.
Haribol! Yes, Peter Krishna. So, Peter Krishna is a frequent donator and a constant supporter. He's always also interacting on our various social medias, and you can find him probably down in the YouTube comment section. He's also posting there. So he's an acharya of this kind of behavior. This is very exemplary. We have all these different social medias in. Yes,
you can say it. He is the embodiment of everything we wish of a Pakka Bliss podcast listener.
Yes, he is the incarnation of perfect bliss podcast listener. I don't know. That is, he's very nicely doing it. We have these various social media platforms, which you're listening to on right now, either Buzzsprout or YouTube. And I don't know about Buzzsprout because I myself have not been on there yet. This is more Macinjaw Prabhuji's zone. He's the zonal acharya of the Buzzsprout.
Yeah, I heard from my mom that it's not on.
It's not on?
No.
Well, this is very...
We have a jingle for
We have
Very Bad?
yeah. We should make our own jingle for Very Bads. That sounds a little too That sounds a little too praising for Very Bads.
That's kind of sad. There's a sad vibe. It's like, oh, why did you do it, my country?
Yeah. That's more like. Yeah, that kind of works. Yeah, I like the wow. It's kind of like a. Yeah, you can make it. It makes okay, and then we just add like a very bad. We both say very bad in unison, and then
Very bad.
very bad.
So let's do it.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Again.
Very bad. Okay, that was nice. So anyway, very bad. Why is it not going on there? I don't know. Sorry to all of our Buzzsprout listeners. It's alright. You
Well,
can.
they can't hear it.
Right. Yeah, you're just gonna be hearing this at the time you thought was the normal time that it was meant to be uploaded. So yeah, sorry to bust
You
your
will
dreams.
hear this in the future.
You're right. It is very bad for the future.
When you will not longer be checking Buzzsprout because you get burned out. There's nothing there. So in case you're hearing this, then
Thank you for
there,
staying.
there must be inconceivable Shakti of Krishna.
Yeah, that must be Krishna's mercy. So yeah, that should be on the Buzzsprout anyway. So if you on YouTube, which you are now listening to this on a Monday on YouTube, we have this comment section down below. It's a nice little place where you can put your realizations and your comments and your challenges and your questions. And that's a very nice, it generates discussion and we get ideas for the next podcast. And yeah, then you also advance in spiritual life and it's just very interesting to hear all your various things to say.
As you can see, the previous topic of discussion was prasadam, and today's topic is prasadam. So we're running out of topics. Please, please give a suggestion for topics. As you can see, it's a crisis.
Yeah, it would be disappointing to have the third episode also be about prasadam. Then it's really getting to.
If you do not send any suggestions for topics, we'll from now on only prasadam, nothing but prasadam topic.
This will just be a prasadam podcast, which is not so bad, but I don't know if everyone wants to hear sounds of us eating prasadam.
By the way, we also sent off some prasadam bombs in the mail, through mail, to some of the listeners. So please let us know if you got the prasadam bomb. And if you want a prasadam bomb, let us know. We'll send you prasadam bomb. Some nice burfi.
The word prasadam bomb, or as Prabhu also trademarked last time, burfi rocket.
Yeah, you have to explain because now we're
Yeah.
probably gonna be arrested.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit like a terrorist threat. So, prasadam, a short explanation which we'll go into more in depth if you keep on listening to the podcast today, is the Sanskrit term for spiritual food, basically. Food that's offered to Krishna, God. And it's very, very tasty. And when you eat it, you feel spiritually enlivened. It hits your soul. So it's a bomb also because it hits you so hard, you feel like you've been shell-shocked by a bomb. And burfi is a kind of milk sweet, like very thick boiled down milk that turns into a fudge, and there's lots of sugar in there and some flavoring. So hopefully Krishna tasted and everyone else is enjoying that got the bomb. They got the bomb because they were supporting, right? This is the reason that we sent off these various rockets.
Yes.
Okay. So back on topic that was like 3 topics ago. Yes, the supporters. Peter Krishna. Peter Krishna is a consistent supporter. He's the acharya of this. But we also have some other supporters that are just on the same level, same spiritual level. Christian Leota Prabhu is consistently supporting. Rebecca Ogama. Yeah! There's... Yes, I got it right. Not Omega. Which is also a cool name, but Omega is cooler, I think.
Are you listening, Rebecca? Please let us know.
Yes. Thank you very much for supporting, if you are listening. So, all these nice supporters, including some others who I have not such a good memory, so I'm at the current moment I can't remember, but you're still within my heart, very dear. They're supporting via the GoFundMe and the Patreon. Rebecca's on the Patreon. Patreon's a very cool platform. You subscribe monthly, you give a little donation, whatever you can from your hearts, and it's very, very useful for the preaching.
And you get special gifts.
These are
No one else can have these gifts unless he's on Patreon.
These are exclusive gifts. Very, very special gifts. You can't get these anywhere in the world. Okay, these are books compiled by Purja Prabhu. Very nice books of philosophy that will increase your intelligence and satisfy you in the mind. One of the I think the book
Increase your intelligence.
yeah, it doesn't create your intelligence.
Create, okay.
Okay, it can create your intelligence also. I don't know. Depends who reads it.
Prabhupada says it will satisfy your intelligence.
So I think Rebecca's reading or has read Proof of the Vedas. So this is also I also read Proof of the Vedas. This is a very nice one. And then we also have Teachings of Lord Buddha that you can receive, and some other ones. History of Atheism, I think, is another one. So that is very nice. Talking of ebooks, also, you can go on one of our social media platforms, which we're going to be talking about now, the Bliss website, which is a very lovely portal to the spiritual world, where you can access all things bliss, including some of the ebooks we have there. And one of the ones you can get is How to Offer Food to Krishna, which is very appropriate for this episode of the podcast. So if you've ever wondered what the process of offering food to Krishna is, then you can download that one there. On our other social media platforms, we have... sorry, the mineral water is coming back. The prasadam is coming back. It's creating some bubbles. We have Instagram and Facebook and maybe another one there also, but I can't remember exactly. Anyway, Instagram and Facebook are the main ones. Oh, we have a Twitter. If you happen to find the Twitter, it is buried down in the depths of the Twitter sphere. It's very difficult to find. I did not really stay on top of the Twitter. It's you have to be on that all the time. I don't have so much time to be on the Twitter, but if anyone would like to become friends with me on Twitter, you can find us at the Bliss or the Bhaktivedanta Lives in Sound Society on Facebook, on all these social medias.
Facebook.
On Facebook, it's you look up Bhaktivedanta Lives in Sound, but it's labeled Expand the Bliss. Mm-hmm. So that's it for social medias and everything else. And Bliss Olds. Now for the main, the nitty and gritty. The meat, but we don't take meat of the podcast. Also in Bliss News, sorry, thank you for that little extra bit of the jingle. That was very useful actually for this. We need a little bit of that because there's in Bliss News, we are planning on moving to London. What do you think about that, Peru?
Positive.
Okay, very good. I thought you were going to play the very bad jingle for a second there. I was shocked. So yeah, that's just a thing that's happening. You can watch out for this in the near future. Some London moves happening. So get excited. There's going to be a Bliss London happening soon. So on this episode of the podcast, Prasadam continued because people aren't putting comments or questions in the YouTube comment section. That's alright. So specifically what to offer to Krishna, because last time we talked about what Prasadam is. So now we can talk about what actually you can offer.
What Krishna likes.
What Krishna likes. That's the main thing. Because we also addressed this last time, but the whole point of Krishna consciousness is to transform the present consciousness into a totally, not exactly a different consciousness. It's different from our present consciousness, but actually it is our original consciousness. To transform your present consciousness into your actual consciousness, which is God consciousness or Krishna consciousness.
In other words, your present consciousness is not your real consciousness.
Right. Yeah, your present consciousness is illusion, actually. What is that illusion? Our illusion is that we are apparently here the enjoyers. We think that we are God. We think that we are Krishna. And we think that all nice foods should actually be offered to me for tasting. That my sense enjoyment is the topmost thing. So this is obviously a very contaminating, not contaminating, but toxic consciousness to have, actually. And why anyone experiences miseries or anxiety or conflict is because of this consciousness that every individual person in the material world wants to be God, wants to be the enjoyer. So if everyone wants to be gods, then no one is actually happy. Everyone's fighting for this position to be gods. So this is why, everyone is suffering here. When you want to be the enjoyer, when you want to be gods, you have to, because you're not the enjoyer, because you're not God, you have to take an illusory body that makes you think that you're God. You have to take a material body. And the material body can enjoy, like, independent of gods. In the normal consciousness, we're all eternal servants of God, part and parcel of the super consciousness, the supreme consciousness, God, Krishna, who's also a person. And not to get confused, it's not that everything is God exactly, but Krishna is a person, and we are his parts and parcels. And in our original consciousness, we're just servants. There's no separate enjoyment. There's no separate existence, actually. So for you to be the enjoyer, for you to enjoy separately, you have to take an illusory body that makes you feel that you're God. And the problem with this illusory body that we currently accept as our present body is that it's temporary and it's full of miseries. So Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that he says, Dehunasmin yata dehe. I'm not going to do the full Sanskrit here, but what Krishna says, translated to English, is that as the soul passes through boyhood, or the body changes from boyhood to youthhood to old age, so the soul passes into another body at death. So this is the explanation of how you can understand that you're in an illusory body. You're not actually in your real body. You're not who you think you are. You think you're the body, but if you're the body, then what of your previous body? What of your old body? You had the body of a young child, of a young boy or a young woman or whatever, a young girl, and now that body is dead and gone. And at some point, also, your present body will also be gone when you become an old gentleman or an old woman. So the body is constantly dying, constantly refreshing, but you, the person who can observe these changes, are remaining, which means that you are something different from the body. You are the consciousness. So anyway, this is how you can understand that you're something different from the material body. So, how to return to the original consciousness, how to return to the spiritual, pure consciousness. That is, that consciousness that is part and parcel of God's, servant of God's. By rendering service to Krishna, rendering service to God. That's the only way that you can revive your consciousness, is by acting how you normally act in your original consciousness. So the way that this service starts is with the tongue. The tongue is the main sense that keeps you in the material world, because everyone has to eat, and that's the main thing. Of course, there are many other aspects to the tongue. We control the tongue in Krishna consciousness by two ways. By chanting Hare Krishna, the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, which is the main thing that we do. And everyone can do this wherever you are, chant Hare Krishna. That's the easiest way to control your tongue, your senses, your mind.
One question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Why we need to control the senses?
Well, as I just explained, the material body is temporary in the source of all your suffering also. But why you have the temporary material body is because, like I also explained, you want to be God. You want to enjoy. And what does enjoyment mean? Enjoyment means through the senses. So if you have uncontrolled senses and uncontrolled minds, then you automatically, the senses control you. They will enjoy the material world, and when they enjoy the material world, you become bound to the material world. To keep on enjoying, material nature has to give you a body to keep on enjoying. You do something, you get a reaction. It's like you could say it's like a car, like when you work very hard. You work very hard to afford some kind of nice. You can afford a nicer or less nice car. So similarly, the way you work in the material world, you get a different body in your next life, a different kind of form. So obviously, whatever kind of form you get, you're not going to enjoy it because it's material, it's temporary. And like we just said, you're the eternal consciousness. So if you're an eternal consciousness, how can you enjoy a temporary material body? So anyway, uncontrolled senses are the reason that you keep on taking this body that you don't actually want. And even in this present life, when people have uncontrolled senses, it causes so much suffering for everyone else.
Can I just add something?
Yes, baby.
The point with the senses is they can never be satisfied. It's just like pouring oil in a fire. Although temporarily they're satisfied, they ask, So when we die, there's many desires unsatisfied, right? And these will create another body. That desire cannot just disappear into thin air. The desire manifests somewhere. So that actually creates a next body that we have to take, which is not a good idea to take another body because we're not the body, just as Maitreya Prabhu explained.
Right, okay, so your senses are lusty and they can't be satisfied no matter how much you try. Obviously, we can see this also, that everywhere you look, if people are trying to enjoy their senses, satisfy their senses with, immeasurable material means. People have, pretty much every kind of material enjoyment you can imagine from, I like the way you say this word also, Lamborghinis. So people have Lamborghinis, and people have yachts, and people have all the women and the men, and people have all the money and the houses. Smartphones, like anything. Every kind of smartphone, you can have a million different kinds of smartphones.
I have a dumb phone. Dumb phone.
Dumb phone 8 is coming out soon. So, people have all these things, and still they're unsatisfied. Why are they unsatisfied? Why? People are satisfied. People are happy. No. If they were satisfied, they wouldn't keep on making all these things. They wouldn't keep on working so hard. They would just be finished with all if you're satisfied, then you can stop doing. You can stop working so hard. You can stop trying to enjoy. You're satisfied. That's the meaning. So people are dissatisfied by the senses, and also with uncontrolled senses, you cause so much suffering for other living entities. Like right now, they are killing the cow like anything. Even though the cow gives you everything that you could possibly need. Milk, that's the main thing. Milk is all you need, actually, to survive. Of course, it's nice to have these other things, but great rishis, great saintly persons, great scholars and great saintly persons, they are just simply surviving off of milk. We also, not that I myself am a great saint, but we are surviving just off of yogurt. So we have the experience that just milk products is all you need to not only make your body very healthy, but also create fine brain tissues in the mind that help you understand spiritual subject matter. And for this reason, among a couple others, the cow is very, very important. Actually, the cow is considered the mother in the Vedas, one of the 7 kinds of mothers. So, the mother, she gives you milk, the cow, she gives you milk. So, even despite this, people are killing the cow because of uncontrolled senses. And they're killing the cow. Okay, you kill a cow, it's very sinful. You can take the meat, but only when the cow is dead. When it's already dead, died by natural causes. But to create a slaughterhouse, this is clear that people have no control over their minds. Just because you want to eat, you want to get a little taste, a little McDonald's, a Big Mac, you're killing millions of living entities in an organized way. It's like genocidal. It's quite crazy. And another thing is, if you can't relate to cows, then people go to war, people fight each other, kill each other because of uncontrolled senses wanting to enjoy. So this is why the senses have to be controlled. So anyway, how you control the tongue. We just mentioned chanting Hare Krishna, but another thing is that everyone has to eat. Everyone loves eating, and everyone has to eat. Because if you have a body, that means you have to eat something to survive. What is that? Jiva jivanam?
Jivasya jiva jivanam. You need to kill other living entities to live.
Exactly. So another thing you can get from the shloka is that you need to eat something to live. You need to kill something, yes, to live. And if you kill something to live, and if you eat something which is not first offered, which is not offered in yoga to God, then you also get karma for that. Because you have to kill something. We don't say, there's nothing that you can eat that you don't have to kill, actually, because even vegetables, fruits like that, living entities also. So we also kill something when we offer something to Krishna. But because we offer the food to Krishna, it becomes free from karma. And then you don't have to take more material bodies for that. So, obviously no one would like that. So, what can you offer to Krishna? If offering to Krishna is the only way to stop your suffering because of uncontrolled senses, this is how you control the senses, then what do I offer to Krishna? Well, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, which is a very nice philosophical treatise, you can also download that at expandthebliss.com, you will find that Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam, which means that you can offer me a fruit, a leaf, water, and I always forget the other one, a flower. So if you offer any of these 4 things to Krishna with love and devotion, that is the most important point, then he will accept it. So you can make so many combinations of foods out of these 4 things. I have a question, Prabhu. Does this flower, when Krishna says flower, pushpam, does that include grains? Because grains are also considered a flower.
Yeah, that must be, yeah.
Okay, so I was always trying to figure out, where does grains
I know
that fit into this?
Leaf refers to the tulsi leaf.
Ah, okay.
And water, you can also offer milk.
Right. Okay, so you can, milk also, yeah. So you can make such a combination out of these 4 things that you will forget all these nonsense McDonald's or Big Macs or Burger Kings or whatever. You can make such a combination. You can, in Krishna Prasadam terminology we're going to be using here, because it's easier for us to remember also, you can make all kinds of breads like chapatis and paratas and all this kind of thing. You can make deep fried, if you like deep fried, I don't know, whatever other kind of stuff there is out there, McDonald's deep fried fries. I don't know why McDonald's is the first thing that comes into my mind that's food not offered to Krishna, but it just seems like the total opposite of something you'd offer to Krishna. So, deep fried samosas, pakoras, which is like vegetables that are deep fried in a batter. Also, sweets, which are a favorite of the Hare Krishna monks, especially in Bliss. Sweets are very nice. So you can offer so many crazy sweets. Gulab jamans are like these balls that you soak in a sugar sauce, and they almost bounce when you throw them, and they explode in your mouth. It's crazy. It's magical. So you can offer gulab jamans to Krishna, and you will forget all this other nonsense food. So these are just some ideas. I think also last time on the podcast you had an idea to create a cookbook.
Yeah, we can still do it.
Okay,
No one was begging. You must beg first of all, then you shall get the cookbook.
Actually, Peter Kirshner said that cookbook would be a good idea.
Ah.
He said that on the YouTube comments. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So I think we can go ahead and make that. Maybe we can even make some tutorials. Put it on the Bliss YouTube channel.
Yeah, we don't cook so often. We don't cook so often now.
Yeah. We can show you how to offer yogurt. So
Come and help us out.
yeah, come help us out. Come help with the cutting. If anyone is going to be in London, England, let us know, and you can come to the Hare Krishna temple and help us cut some nice stuff. Offer to Krishna.
I will teach you how to cook.
We'll teach you how to offer yoga also, especially. So this is all I have to say for now, Prabhu. Maybe you have something to add. What is the most important benefit of offering to Krishna?
You'll become a devotee.
Jai.
You will understand practically that Krishna is alive. This is not a faith.
Wait, what do you mean practically understand?
Well, this is not a faith. Krishna consciousness is not a faith. It's a fact. It's happening right now. Krishna, that's why I call it Krishna consciousness. You have a you're conscious of Krishna 24 hours. So, because Krishna is a person, then he needs to eat. And that's why we offer him. Just like we need to eat also. Right? You're also conscious of your stomach, right? If you're hungry, I mean, people are working on the platform of the stomach fulfilling.
Right.
All their activities are meant to fill up the stomach. That's why they go to work. So they get money and they buy food and they fill up the stomach.
Right.
So they're stomach conscious. It's natural. So we suggest that keep up this consciousness, stomach, but put Krishna there. Before you fill up the stomach, you offer to Krishna. And Krishna has some preferences, just like you have also preferences. Everyone has a preference, right, in food, unless he's a pig. The pigs, they eat everything, right?
Right,
They
yeah.
eat nails and right.
Even baby oats.
Baby oats. So everyone has some sort of preference. So it's not difficult to relate to Krishna. He also has his preference. And Krishna consciousness means that we take Krishna's preference over our preference. That is our preference.
Okay, so we prioritize Krishna instead of ourselves.
Yeah, and I have here a nice quote from Srila Prabhupada. He says, it's from the teachings of Queen Kunti. The word Daitya means favor. Krishna favors no one. Dveshascha, and no one is his enemy. We expect some benediction or profit from a friend and harmful activities from an enemy. But Krishna is so perfect that no one can harm him, nor can anyone give him anything. So who can be his friend or enemy? Nayasya kaschi daityosti asti. He doesn't need anyone's favor. He's complete. I may be a very poor man, and therefore I might expect some favor from a friend, but that is because I am imperfect. Because I am not full, because I am deficient in so many ways, I am always needy, and therefore I want to create some friend. And similarly, I hate an enemy. But since Krishna is the supreme, no one can harm Krishna, nor can anyone give Krishna anything. Why then are we worshipping Krishna in a temple? By offering Krishna so many comforts, dressing him, decorating him, and giving him nice food. We should try to understand that Krishna does not need our offerings of nice garments, flowers, or food. But if we give such offerings to Krishna, we shall benefit. Thus it is Krishna's favor that he accepts such offerings. If one decorates oneself, one's reflection in the mirror will also appear decorated. Similarly, since we are reflections of Krishna, if we decorate Krishna, we also shall be decorated. In the Bible, it is said that man was made in the image of God, and this means that we are reflections of God's image. It is not that we invent or imagine some form of God according to our own form. Those who adhere to the Mayavad philosophy or anthropomorphism say the absolute truth is impersonal, but because we are persons, we imagine that the absolute truth is also a person. This is a mistake, and in fact, just the opposite is true. We have two hands, two legs, and a head because God Himself has these same features. We have personal forms because we are reflections of God. Furthermore, we should philosophically understand that if the original person benefits, the reflection also benefits. So if we decorate Krishna, we also shall be decorated. If we satisfy Krishna, we shall become satisfied. If we offer nice food to Krishna, we shall also eat the same food. Those who live outside the temples of Krishna consciousness may never have imagined such palatable food as the food we are offering to Krishna. But because it is being offered to Krishna, we also have the opportunity to eat it. So we should try to satisfy Krishna in all respects, and then we shall be satisfied in all respects. Jai Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. So I like this, well, the whole thing, of course, but yeah, that's we shall become decorated. I was just wondering what your realization is on we shall become decorated.
Well, this is a little bit more advanced. Like we offer food, that's the basic type of worship of Krishna. And then if you want to take it a little further, then you get a deity and you also dress Krishna. That is a little bit more. And in this way, you cultivate God consciousness practically by engaging in the service to Krishna. Not simply theoretical belief type of thing. No, it must be practical. You must practice that Krishna is a person and you practice service to Him. This is how you develop your spontaneous love for God, for Krishna.
Right. So, yeah, to keep it on topic also, that with the prasadam, there's also this shloka in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Yatataro Nisachinena. But I'm not going to try and quote the whole shloka right now because I will probably mess it up severely. Anyway, that shloka means that when you water the root of a tree, all the branches and leaves are automatically nourished. So what does it mean? It means that because Krishna is the root of a tree, of the tree, of everything, when you satisfy Krishna, when you satisfy God, then automatically everything that is emanating from God, i.e., you, the world, the people around you, everything will also become satisfied. So, yes, just by offering nice foodstuffs with love to Krishna, automatically you feel satisfied. And that's actually real satisfaction, like we mentioned before, that the senses cannot be satisfied. If you try to eat lots of foodstuffs, no matter if you eat a big pile of halwa, your senses will not be satisfied. But if you offer that same pile to Krishna, because you're part and parcel of Krishna, you will feel satisfied. And you can compare it to like a finger on a hand, or sorry, a finger connected to a body, right? If the finger decides that, well, why is the stomach enjoying so nicely? I also want to be enjoying. And then he tries to eat foodstuffs himself. The finger will never feel satisfied because the finger doesn't have the capacity to digest the foodstuffs. He can't enjoy. And he becomes malnourished, if a finger could become depressed, the finger becomes depressed. So it's only when he gives food to the stomach that the finger become healthy. So in the same way, because you're like a little finger on the body of God, that's kind of like a big analogy also. We're a little smaller than a finger exactly on the body of God, but you're part and parcel of God. That's the point. So if you satisfy the enjoyer, Krishna, the stomach, then you also automatically become happy, become decorated, like Prabhupada was saying there in the purport. So this is the actual aim, is not to increase my love for society and friendship and for my own sense gratification, but to increase my love for Krishna, the Supreme Person. And like Prabhu was mentioning, how do you do that? Practical God consciousness, practical cultivation of love of God is it starts with this chanting, which awakens that God consciousness, and also offering to Krishna, trying to make something that's palatable for him, and letting him enjoy first. A little bit of austerity, but
So I think you're writing an article on this. Why don't you share some of your research?
okay. So yeah, I'm writing a little article on just a humble article on why you should offer to Krishna what Krishna likes, because people often are asking, can I offer this to Krishna, or is this offerable to Krishna? Can I offer this thing, that thing? Which is of course good. You should verify if something should be offered to Krishna. That is very good, and the fact that you're offering to Krishna is also very good. But it could be better, because just like theoretically, you could say, you can understand Krishna consciousness is that you're trying to change your consciousness from thinking of yourself to entirely in the perfect stage. There's no consideration of oneself. There's just Krishna, and that's actual happiness. So when you think of just Krishna, there's no consideration of, oh, can I offer this because it's from my culture, or because I like the taste of it, or whatever. There's no preference like that. So the idea is to offer to Krishna something that he likes, and we get the descriptions of what Krishna likes in the revealed scriptures, like the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Of course, Bhagavad Gita is like the preliminary study of the Vedic scriptures. So Krishna says there, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam, like we already discussed. But then in the Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can actually see what Krishna is taking. And he's taking just what the devotees are taking in a Hare Krishna temple. He's taking puris, like these puffed breads that are deep fried. He's taking halwa, he's taking ladus, which are these sweet balls. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya is taking shak, he's taking vegetable stews and rice and chapatis. So we know what Krishna likes, and if we offer to Krishna something that we know he likes, that is good for your Krishna consciousness. Also, Srila Prabhupada himself, who is, the representative of Krishna, who comes, he's the Acharya, who comes to teach you how to be perfectly Krishna conscious, he gave us so many recipes, which are these style of foods. You could say Indian foods. It's more like a Vedic foods. He gave us all these recipes, and Srila Prabhupada himself, there's a quote from, where is that? Satsrup's Lilamrita or something like this. But Govinda Dasi also. Sorry, not the Lilamrita. There's a letter from Shrutikirti, one of Prabhupada's personal servants, where Shrutikirti,
Why don't you read it?
in which he says, Prabhupada also received your sandesh yesterday, and I put 2 on his plate last night at his request, along with pineapple and hot milk. He bit into one and said Kirtanananda Maharaj made first-class sandesh. He then said how sandesh and rasagula are called Bengali sweets and how they are standard. He has been criticizing LA's making of concocted sweets, sweets with puff rice, carob, powdered milk, food coloring, peanut butter in different combinations that he did not care for. He said, I have given you sandesh, rasagula, and sweet balls. These are standard sweets and are very good. Why do they go to these different things? So, yeah, you can understand from this that
What is next?
so Krishna consciousness is also a little bit of common sense. If the whole goal is to re-establish your loving relationship to Krishna, who is a person, who's in your heart, who's also, well, more specifically, Srila Prabhupada, who is the representative. Srila Prabhupada is the Acharya, which means he's the one who teaches how we should worship Krishna, and also he's the that person who we render service to, because we are not currently qualified to render service directly to God. Obviously, that's kind of a high standard. So Srila Prabhupada comes himself to represent Krishna, and then we serve him. So anyway, when Srila Prabhupada is saying that these dishes, as in more like Western style, he doesn't precisely say Western, but concocted sweets, things that are not the standard Sandesh Rasgulla. Actually, he says the Bengali sweets are standard. Those are not so good. They're not very good, not so first class. So we can understand that if we want to love Krishna, why shouldn't we offer Krishna or Srila Prabhupada the most first-class offerings? So if Prabhupada says that the first-class offerings are these rasgulla or like that, the Vedic style, then we should do like that. It's not such a difficult thing. If we have some idea of sense gratification when we're offering prasadam, then the whole idea of prasadam is pretty much lost. And actually, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhakti prayachati, which is offered with love and devotion. So that means that you don't think about what you want to eat. That's the main point here. That you don't think about what would be nice for my taste buds. You're trying to think about Krishna in Krishna consciousness, and that change of the consciousness is actually what makes a living entity happy, being the eternal servant of God. So even though if we think that offering something that we like will make us happy, actually the complete opposite is true. Anything you'd like to add, Prabhu?
You have explained it very nicely.
Krishna Prashnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Divishesha Namaste Saraswati Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavasi Asyatari Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Aradhana Shivasari Gora Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Gadadara Shiva Sari Gora Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So I think that's all about Prasadam. Hopefully there is not a third episode of Prasadam. Of course, there will be possibly some online tutorials coming or some cookbooks coming, so you can get a third episode in that way. But to spice up the varieties, why don't you all put a comment down below, some ideas or some suggestions or some questions like that, and that will generate a future podcast. You'll become featured on the podcast even. We'll give you a shout out.
Or leave us an audio message, just like Harley did a few episodes ago. And that would really spice up things. So if you're on Facebook, send us an audio message. Or how do you call it? Message?
A voice message.
Message.
Voice message.
Voice
yeah.
message, yeah. Use your voice and we'll put you on. And if you ask, you can either record your comments or greeting or question.
Anyway, it might be, we want to hear that sweet vibration. So thank you for joining us on this episode of the Bliss Podcast. We hope to see you next time on the whatever episode it may be. I've totally lost track now. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Prabhupada. Jai.
Jai.